Hi, this is Kerry Artek with Wicked Stocks, bringing you your daily Tesla report for Monday, December 1st, 2025. Let's take a look at the charts. Weekly chart, this one goes back several years. It is a 8-month roughly channel bottom at 400.02 that's been containing selling pressures the last few weeks. We'd mentioned it as a possible 1 to 2 month objective following the testing of the channel top about 2 months ago. And so we're inside of this structure here. I present this image in the event of settlement below 400.02 at the end of this week, which I'll get to in a moment. But until then, upward momentum remains intact over the last 7 or 8 months and does keep 528.94 in reach over the next 2 to 3 months, I think is a good estimate. 528.94 is a significant 5-year rising channel top for Tesla, able to contain buying on a quarterly, possibly annual basis. And yes, I do consider it to be in reach by the end of the first quarter, holding above 400.02. And that is kind of the big picture in a nutshell. Let me continue with this image as it sits here. If we were to close this week below this structure, and then on the daily chart, you can see 397.31. That is the same structure that we find on the daily chart. I can show that here. But if we were to close below all that, then 312.40 becomes our next, this is probably a 1 to 2 month objective. By the end of, say, January, if we were to close this week below the upper 390s, low 400s, I could see a decent bounce here and maybe even a longer-term low where we can round out into Q2, Q3 of next year. But as I've also been saying, these wild swings, we're still in the midst of it. And if we close below 400.02, you cannot discount the possibility of complete price erosion all the way back into the low 200s. The timing of this could be 3 to 5 months. We could fall to 312.40 within 2 months. And if we don't get a decent bounce or a low here, we close below it, we're 2 to 3 months away from reaching 203.56. That is just it in a nutshell in terms of the big picture. So let's take a look, at the daily chart, the daily version of 400.02. That is 397.31. You can see how we've slipped below it on the daily chart a couple of times, have never closed below it, above which that 528.94, you can see 2 to 3 months, a real possibility. But the 2 to 3 week time frame remains the same, and that is to say buying 397.31, selling 452.67. This is your 2 to 3 week swing trade. This area is narrowing on a continuous basis. We could continue filling this out into later December. Inside of that, we have this pivot point at 430.12, which is like a 2-week channel top, mostly horizontal. We did close just above it on Friday, but I think by too narrow a margin to really consider it a reliable buy signal. Now, if you did exit, say, a long position that was established a week earlier in the 390s, I think that was a great call because the settlement above 430.12 was not by a convincing enough a margin. Now, we did close on Friday at 430.17. And this structure is at 430.12 today, Monday. And I'll just say that if we close higher on the day, if we close today, Monday, above 430.17, in other words, above Friday's settlement price, I do see 452.67 as likely this week, which is considered an objective anyway over the 2 to 3 week time frame. It's just that we could get snagged at 430.12. We didn't close above it by a convincing enough margin to indicate 452.67 over the following 3 to 5 days. And if we open just a little lower on Monday, we are clearly below 430.12. If we close below 430.12 today, that keeps the 3 to 5 day swing trade into a short sale mode, or at least into a mode of anticipating possible bearish rotation by the end of the week back into this 397.31 formation, which would once again present a meaningful buy opportunity through the month of December and really through Q1. As I said before, holding above the upper 390s, low 400s will keep that 528.94 formation in reach as a 2 to 3 month target, roughly. If you're finding value in this analysis, it's only a glimpse of what we offer. Your real trading edge starts at wickedstocks.com. Each week, premium members receive 2 high-probability stock picks. Each one comes with a complete trade plan, including exact entry, profit target, stop loss, and regular updates so you can manage the trade with confidence.
You'll also get daily video analysis in the top traded markets, the SPY, the Triple Q, and NVIDIA, highlighting the key price levels, trends, and trade setups we're focused on. Whether you're day trading or swing trading, these insights help you zero in on the highest quality opportunities with clarity. Try it all free for 5 days. Cancel at any time.
To close above 452.67, and that's certainly possible. I'll go through a scenario. We closed today higher on the day, above 430.17. Within 2 or 3 days, we test 452.67. Now we're in the kind of the Wednesday, Thursday time horizon, and if we settle Friday above 452.67, that is a meaningful buy signal as we move through December. If we were to close above 452.67 over the next week or so, you can see how this low 500s becomes a 3 to 5 week objective. So yes, what is a 2 to 3 month target could be narrowed to within 3 to 5 weeks if we close above 452.67. I see no compelling reason to be short Tesla if we close above 452.67. I see no compelling reason to be short Tesla anyway, holding above 397.31. But if you're kind of a 3 to 5 week swing trader, 2 to 3 week swing trader, and we close above 452.67, it is to be long and stay long through December into the low 500s. You have this rising channel top at 502.28, which will over the next few weeks converge anyway with that significant 528.945-year channel top. Let's cover the downside. Not going to happen today, but if we do happen to collapse and close below 397.31, first off, on a daily basis, I would anticipate 366.75 as a possible 3 to 5 day target. This would obviously involve a spike in volatility. We've got a narrowing in volatility late last week, but that's understandable with Thanksgiving holiday, of course. But if later in the week, on Friday, we close below 397.31, let's say, I'd say by the end of the following week, 366.75 is likely. And within 3 to 5 weeks, closing below 397.31, this 312.40 rising two-thirds speed line projected off that April low would be expected. I like this speed line as a support level because it also lines up nicely with the 5/8 downside Fibonacci from that April low against this recent high. That's around 315 and change. So this is a big area of what I would call mid to longer term support. A 3 to 5 week target below 397.31, able to contain selling possibly through Q1. And as I said a moment ago, if we were to close below that 312.40 area, then we are expecting within 2 to 3 months the very low 200s. Anything else to say beyond what I already have? I don't think so. I'm just going to ask you to please click like. Oh, here's one little level. All right. If we happen to push or open above a 430.12, this 439.20 5/8 Fibonacci upside in reach today, and once again closing above 430.12. And yes, I'd like to see a higher settlement on the day that's also above 430.17. Within the week, we should reach 452.67, where 2 to 3 week swing trade profits can be taken if you bottom picked this 390 support as we were testing it a couple of weeks ago. You could also play the short side here back into the low 400s within 2 or 3 weeks. That is all I have. I'm going to leave it at that for Monday's Tesla report. I'll be back tomorrow with Tuesdays, of course. You have a great day.